Funny enough, last year we kind of put the axe on half of it to put a in-ground pool instead. So yeah, sim racing is costing me a lot of project these days. So
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second show of the EGT Canada podcast. I'm your host, Alain Leon, and my co host, Patrick Fournier. So, people like the first show and they asked for a second one. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about the previous race that just ended last Friday. But before that, we have a guest. And he's been there for a couple of years, actually, now. And we're going to welcome Mathieu Bellavance.
hi guys, thanks for having me tonight.
Our
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you for accepting the invitation. You've been with us for a while with the EGT Canada, and back then it was EGT Challenge. Uh, how did you hear about the series? How did it start?
Yeah, so actually, I think I'm starting my I'm fourth season with the EGT team. So obviously, like a lot of people in sim racing, started my career or my short career in 2019 in iRacing, obviously, because this was the main software, main simulator that everyone was using. So started with iRacing. Obviously, always interested in GT more kind of racing. So as soon as I heard about ACC and the Canadian League, I was quite interested. So kind of joined the Discord, have a look at the team a bit, and then joined for the GT4 season. I selected the Porsche then. So
Right. So you started with the Cayman then.
yeah, exactly.
Nice, nice, nice.
Well, my
And
question would be
yeah,
actually, since you went from iRacing to ACC, what would you say would be the main difference between, I was going to say, both simulators? Now, I'm not talking just about the cars, but
Yeah.
force feedback and everything, even the image you get from the game. Which one would you prefer? Which one would you recommend more, actually, for the feel of the driving?
Yeah. So I think the main thing you want to ask yourself when you're selecting iRacing or ACC, in my opinion, is what kind of racing do you want to do. So if your answer is
yeah,
GT racing, then obviously ACC is the one to select. The graphic are outstanding, the quality of the force feedback, realism is obviously, in my opinion, higher than iRacing.
yeah.
Um, so obviously, if you're more inclined to uh,
Ovals, oval
ovals, open
Formula
wheel,
cars.
yeah,
Yeah, well, yeah.
then obviously iRacing is the first choice.
Yeah, and
If
I think one of the big advantages of iRacing is the fact that you can pretty much, you know, doesn't matter what time you have time to race. If you just want to go race, you log in and start racing a few minutes afterwards. Whether as ACC, if you do that, it's not that easy. But however, that's where EGT Canada, I believe that we make a difference. The fact that we have something that it's prepared for everyone, and that's what we try to do. But yeah, that I think iRacing is a great simulator, but ACC has its advantages as well.
correct,
And with us, you always have us as night owls, which we're always
Yeah,
racing at all times of the day. We have our own servers and everything, so it's great for all levels of racing. Even if you're just a beginner,
yeah,
it's awesome. Community is great.
yeah.
So my question would be, what got you to choose the Porsche to start in EGT? Well, in GT racing, because we all know that the Porsche is probably like the one of the
Yeah.
toughest car to drive. So, are you either you like to torture yourself or you really love the car?
Or both.
that's actually a very good question, and I guess the reason why I'm using the Porsche instead of any other car, and by the way, I'm actually way faster in other cars in ACC, but like you said earlier, I think I want to torture myself about it. But it's truly a love affair. Porsche has been my favorite
Dream.
car for years. It was actually a dream car. My
You
friends were
have
dreaming
one.
about. Lamborghini. They were dreaming about all other classic cars in the 90s, and I was always, I guess, drawn to the Porsche. And
I
yes,
get you.
like you said, a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to buy my dream car. So yes, I do own an old Porsche now. So it's a little bit like a love affair. Like I said, there's you never want to see you won't see me drive anything else.
Well, actually, that's the
That's
fun
good to
part
know.
with the sim racing. You can actually drive that one and hit the wall, and you won't cry your head about it when you get back home.
Yeah, exactly. Always thought about bringing my Porsche to a circuit like Mont Tremblant or anything like that, but obviously it's an old one. You don't want to break anything on it, so I'm a little bit fearful of that. So obviously, ACC is my way to go for racing.
Yeah, less
Nice.
expensive as well.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, that's one of the advantages of sim racing. It's
Yeah,
really, really well. No, it can get quite expensive. Never mind. But
Well, actually, it can get expensive if you're going higher end in all the equipment you might get with the rig
yeah,
and the driving column and all the accessories that come with it. But it's a one-time purchase. So after that, you don't have tires, you don't have fuel, you don't have the traveling time as well,
yeah,
and all the time you miss going away from the family every weekends. And you get widow wives when you have a racing husband. So now they can either participate with you or
yeah,
they can look at you funny if you're racing too much on your rig and you don't take care of them
yeah.
enough.
We're gonna have to get back to that part though.
Oh,
We're
okay,
gonna
that's a
talk about
different. Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
but
Well,
but
we're gonna
but
squeeze
but
them in the
yeah,
corner with this one. Okay.
yeah. We're getting him prepared for that question as well. Another question, Matthew. What about the team? You have a team with the champion of last season, and of course, you're all guys driving the Porsche.
yeah. Actually, what a team! So to get a little bit of history about that, it was actually started a couple of years ago when I was still driving in iRacing. So the original team member are one guy from New Brunswick, Patrick, so a place that you know very well, and another European guy that kind of registered to a Canadian league without knowing that it was not happening at European time, but North
Yeah,
America time. So it was a little bit of a nightmare for him to race. But we were not that good, obviously, hence the name of the team, Last. But we were truly having fun
relax.
and relax. So Last but Relax is where it's coming from. Kind of bring that to ACC and EGT because obviously I always wanted to create a team. I'm not a very good driver. My dream was more about becoming a race team manager more than anything else. So if I can do that on the simulation side, that would be awesome. But obviously, being a Porsche driver, I've kind of asked the few Porsche driver that was
Yeah.
racing with me, and obviously Eric was kind enough to join the team. Later on, David also accepted that. So all crazy people that are driving the Porsche. And then this year we had the opportunity to bring Mr. Salomon inside the team. So obviously that knowledge and competency on driving the car is truly helping us at bringing, I guess, our driving to the next level.
And
And
that's
I've
yeah,
heard actually in between branches that your new member is a good setup guy, is he?
Pretty good actually. He's kind of got a complete different philosophy than we had for the car, so it kind of changed our mindset. And obviously, it's working in some situation, a little bit less in others. But once we're going to learn a little bit more about how he actually drive the car, and we're going to have to adapt ourselves a little bit to that. But obviously, the setups that those two guys are producing are not good for midfield drivers like myself. So I need to
because
tweak it a bit to make it more drivable.
it's pretty recent. It's what about a month that it's been created that you guys got a new member, and you also noticed that you have a new sponsor as well.
Yeah, actually, RST is kind of our sponsor for this year. So it's obviously Mr. Salomon who brought us that sponsor with us. So it's more of a funny one than anything else. So nothing has been signed or provided to
Okay,
us.
so
So
it's just you use the tool and you like to show it
yeah,
off. Nice,
exactly.
nice, cool. Um, Now we're gonna get to those questions about the family and work and the wife and the kids.
Yeah.
Um, so, how much did you tell your wife that you spent on sim racing equipment?
Gosh, if I'm to die tomorrow and she's selling my rig for the price I told her it was that I paid for, she would get like not a lot of money. So yes, number of countless tactics that are used to hide the full price of that rig. So
Well, you
yeah,
got to remember, we're gonna tell her about the podcast. She's gonna know you were on it. So watch what you're saying, bud.
yeah, no. Fortunately, anything sim racing is just a game for her, so she doesn't take it very seriously. So
She, does
she
she
won't.
watches the race? Does she watch the races afterwards or any at
Mm,
all?
never, 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 never.
Wow.
Even knowing you're in the races, she doesn't even watch the the live broadcast and nothing. Damn.
Not at all. She still think I'm 10 years old. So yeah, I'll need to
Yeah.
definitely show her a little bit more about it because obviously when you look at those racers, it's truly to the next level. Everyone that I show the races, the podcast and everything is well done. It's done professionally. Even if we're having fun, it's really next level compared to what is done currently in the field. For sure, there's always those races that are a little bit more global. But for something done in Canada, gosh, I haven't seen anything like that previously.
I,
So it's truly impressive.
I even told people that I prefer watching EGT broadcast than watching F1 on TV on Sundays.
Yeah,
It's a
I
different. It's fun because we know the guys, so we become a family. So knowing you, knowing Alain, knowing everybody that's on the track, it brings a little something special when we're watching it on
yeah.
TV.
It's
yeah,
like a bunch of friends that gets together and practice and qualify and race and then you get all the inside jokes and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I agree
Yeah, for
with you.
sure.
Yeah. Now she doesn't watch the races though, but how is it? Like the time that you spend with her and the time you spend racing. How do you manage that? How's that going?
and it's a little bit difficult, and it's a little bit part of the explanation why maybe I'm not racing to the top split anymore. So obviously, when we started the
Yeah.
race, I was new to sim racing in the amateur class in GT4, so kind of got hooked on it and start to practice a lot more and a lot more. And obviously, the season passed, and the level of racing is getting to a point where you need like I don't know, I don't have enough talent to just sit in this in the rig and perform at that level. So I truly needed to put like 20, 25, 30 hours a
Yeah.
week to be able to perform. And at the end of the day, it's just not bearable with the family, with two young kids and all that stuff. So we're also traveling to Quebec City every weekend, so it kind of complicated the thing. So
Yeah.
yes, obviously I've put a lot less hours, so that's probably why my qualification was not as good as it was in other year. But again, the advantage of EGT is truly that you're going to get fine racing, super good racing at any
Level.
class that
Yeah.
you're participating in. So the quality is there. So I'm having as much, if not more, fun this year so far than I had previously. So it's obviously it helped a little when you're not the blue flag, when you're trying to pass blue flag instead of being passed. But it's yeah, that's different.
Yeah, it helps when Joe Boivin is not behind you trying to overtake you.
Gosh,
A bit.
big time. It's
I
removing a lot of pressure.
I also had my researchers dig a bit, and they noticed that you're trying to build a second rig at your, like you say, like the weekend house, so you can practice incognito, or you're saying something different to your wife. Say, I'm busy, I'm working.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
actually,
for
I'm
the
keep.
kids, right? It's for the kids. It's not for you.
Yeah, actually, my son he's 11 years old and he's got his own rig and computer, so he's going to be part of EGT, I guess, pretty
Nice.
soon. So we'll see. But obviously, every time I upgrade a part on my rig, instead of selling it, I try to keep it so I can build my second rig in the secondary house, so I can go up back to the top split again. So I would have a little bit more time to practice. So, yeah. Talking to all potential sponsors here that listen to the podcast, I'm open to any offer.
Good. Well, do you have any other questions, Pat, or else?
Well,
Oh, okay.
actually, keeping in the same mentality where direction we were going, actually, I know balancing like the sim and normal life and job is not easy. You said before that your wife doesn't care at all. She doesn't. So she lets that. That's the fun part that I like is that she still lets you do it. You know, she might not be into it, but you still can do whatever you want. And
Yeah, you
like you
can
said,
have your fun. Yeah.
yeah, you've still been practicing a lot because to be upfront, you won a race. You were the first winner of the season in silver and national class. So
Yeah.
to be upfront, you had to practice for sure. But I do know that you sacrificed some stuff to be able to race. So, and I did heard a little birdie told me that at some point last year that for you to be able to participate in one race, a specific Friday, that you had to build a whole back porch outside the house. So how did that plan out?
It was actually it ended up being a 2-year project. So yeah, that's a very large porch that was built at the back, and funny enough, last year we kind of put the axe on half of it to put a in-ground pool instead. So yeah,
Nice.
um, sim racing is costing me a lot of project these days. So
So you get to have your passion, and she gets to have a hobby and enjoying herself while you're racing. That's good.
yeah, exactly. And with sim racing or without sim racing, she's got the power. So yeah,
Which wife doesn't? Please tell me that.
yeah, exactly.
I. What else can you say? You choose your battles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you either go along or build yourself a nice doghouse outside.
Yeah, exactly.
And instead, we built a rig and we're racing. So it's a win-win.
We're
Yeah,
do- we're doing well.
Yeah, yeah,
either that or we're doomed.
yeah. Well, how about we talk a little bit about your last race? How did it go?
Actually, pretty well. That's a good thing we started with Denver. That's one of my favorite track, and obviously the Porsche is pretty strong there. So
Yep.
I was able to kind of secure a good lap without practicing too much. So that was kind of acceptable. So the race was pretty much without an issue. I was pretty surprised to secure pole though, because there was a lot of fast driver with me.
Yeah,
So I was kind of expecting a top 5, 6. But obviously, after the start, I guess being in front, you kind of avoid the big
the
crash that
trouble.
happened
Yeah,
back there. So it was all about managing tires, making sure I was managing the gap with the second position. So without pushing too much to create a 10-second gap, which is obviously not always needed. So I kind of really focus on keeping the 1 second gap, just to make it safe a bit and concentrate on not doing any errors. And I think it worked well on that side. So it was a pretty good race.
cool, cool. Another question I just thought about, because you went to another class. Now it's 30 minutes. You've done 60 minutes as well.
Yeah.
How did you find that? I personally, it's the same for me. I haven't. I used to do 60 minutes, and now I'm doing 30 minutes, and I find that it's so much easier mentally
It is.
just the about the 40-minute mark. That's when it starts to get tough.
Yeah.
So how did you find the 30-minute race?
Yeah, you don't have to manage your tire as much as in a 1 hour race. You don't have to deal with the pit stop, obviously, where you can screw up your race in 1 second. So it's way easier. The fatigue, just driving with it's easier on the body. It's easier on the concentration. Um, I think it's
You can
going to help
push
me.
more as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to help me because one of my main issues is that I'm not an aggressive driver. So I know that when I have an hour, I'm going to be able to position myself pretty well because I'm really consistent. I'm not super fast, but I'm consistent. In a
Yeah.
30-minute race, though, that's a different story. You need to be a little bit more aggressive. You need to nail your qualification to be in front, because if you start last, you don't have an hour to take those
No.
position back. So it's going to be a different tactic, different strategy this year. So I think it's going to help me work a little bit on my aggressivity. So
Aggressiveness. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so let's hope I'm gonna stay without any penalties. So I'm proud of that. Never, I don't remember any penalties in those 4 or 5 seasons that I did with EGT. So let's hope it's gonna stay the same for this year.
Actually, I think I had more confidence in your abilities than you had because I told you before the race, this is yours to win.
Yeah,
Because the last time we raced on that race, I won it. We were both pro-am, and you finished second behind me. And you told everybody that I should not have been in that category. I should have been pro.
yeah.
And that's why I told you before this race last week that go get it because that one was yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in my mind that second place was a victory because I never put you in the pro am league. You're definitely a pro, so that's a
They
win
they
for
were
me.
only they were just afraid of me when I got here. Well, actually, it's kind of I was going to say it's easy to understand because I just started in sim racing. They
Yeah,
never seen me before, so putting me pro am instead of being with the pros, it's more comfortable position to be,
sure.
and that was a good learning curve. That
Yeah.
was great. And I was going to say I know I sent you a setup before you started doing your practice on Zandvoort. Did you use that setup or did you go your own way?
Actually, funny enough, in the race, Marc Antoine did comment about the team and the fact that having two top drivers helping you on setup was obviously an advantage for anyone.
Of course.
Funny enough, the pro and pro am are not on the same track that silver and national are. So I was kind of all alone setting up my car on that, and I went a totally different kind of mindset on setup, pretty much suggested by Simon, and it actually worked. So I'm gonna send you my setup later on. It's
Of
it's
course. Of course.
totally different, totally different. Yeah.
I can't wait because it's always nice to have like a different view that what we're used to doing, and sometimes we can go in a different direction and it changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next race for you, Mathieu, it's gonna be in Spain, a track that most of guys that been in the league with the EGT, they've seen it quite often because that's where we used to do the ranking week. How are you preparing for the next race? It's a week from now, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, so Barcelona, a little bit of a love and hate relationship with that track, obviously, because it was the qualification kind of track that we use in the league for a couple of seasons now. So yeah, we've run on that track for countless hours. So for sure, it's something special to go back to that track now during a season. So it's a difficult track. It's a very challenging track where you can lose a lot of time by doing just
Little mistakes, yeah.
little mistake, and you're done. So there's a lot of challenges on breaking point. There's a lot of challenges on managing the throttle to make sure that you accelerate in the right place at the right moment. So it's going to be quite of a
Yeah.
challenge. I'm aiming top 10 in qualification. I think
Yeah.
if I can do something around the 10th first position, then you kind of avoid the traffic behind, and you're
Yeah,
able
the
to catch
accidents.
up a bit. Yeah, exactly. So this year, I think if I have one thing that I want to work on is definitely qualification time to make sure that you are a little bit higher in the field to avoid those difficult race starts. So yeah, that's how I feel about the track. A little bit less, I guess, fast than Zandvoort. So it's like I said, it's a difficult track. We'll see how it goes. But if I'm able to qualify top 10, then I think the race result is going to be interesting. But obviously, with
Yeah.
the guys in the national and silver league, the level is so high that again, you never know. A single mistake can put you down at the end
Yeah.
of all drivers. So yeah,
And you only
no,
have 30 minutes. So, 30 minutes, you make a mistake, you're going to really pay for it. Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, looking forward to that race, but it's going to be another tough one.
Well, since we were talking about setups before, we had a new patch a few months back actually in the game, and the setups we already had before are a bit broken. Let's just say that they're not They're not as efficient as they would be with the new patch. So I don't know if you have practiced a lot for the next race yet. So, but would you start with the base of your old setup, or would you start brand new?
Yeah, that's a good question because actually, when the 1.8 fix kind of went last, I think was
Yeah, about
last
a month
year.
In
ago. Yeah,
December, I think. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
a little over a
uh,
month ago. Yeah.
yeah, that was a massive change for me on the Porsche. That kind of changed completely the feeling of the car. Funny enough, I do feel the car a little bit more than in the past, but it's now a lot more difficult to dial in. So you really need to be easy on the input, really easy on the tires because it kind of eat the tire in seconds. So definitely, I'm kind of starting with fresh setups this year. Like I said earlier, we kind of changes our mindset regarding how we are setting up the car this year. So it's obviously working very well with the new hotfix that Kuno's come out with. So yeah, totally different again than the spirit and mindset that we had during the last season. And it's not really faster, but it's more comfortable. So you can push the car a lot more at the exit of turns. You can brake a little bit later, so it kind of helps you out a bit in the confidence
So
side. So
the last patch that came out, then it kind of went into your direction. Your it
yeah,
helped your driving. It's more fits more into your style. Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a really smooth driver. When you look at my Modec data and all that stuff, I'm pretty smooth on the steering wheel, so it definitely helped me. I don't see a lot of degradation on the tire as much as other driver who are a little bit more aggressive. So definitely, it helped me keep my pace during the entire race. So it's helping me a lot.
It's like you said, with the new patch, we get a better feel because the
Yeah,
tire physics that they changed, we kind of feel the car twist and turn a bit more. The weight transfer feels better.
Yeah.
So, but you got to be way more careful, especially once you want to, let's just say, drop the throttle. If you do that, you can just spin
No.
out the tires. It brings a new, I was going to say, a new feeling to the drive, and it brings it more closer to reality, really.
yeah.
Yes. Um, we talked a little bit about the Barcelona race, but we just had the pro am race that finished last Friday. Did you get to watch that race?
Yeah, actually, we got in Quebec City pretty early in Friday, so I was able to put that on TV. Obviously, my wife was not super happy about it, but I did watch the race in the background in the living room. So it was pretty interesting to look at. For the first time, I was looking at the Friday races from a spectator point of
Yeah.
view instead of a driver. So it was a little bit of a pinch through the heart, but again, the guys
I
are so fast that are it's a what a show! What a show!
Yeah.
It's an awesome race. Starting the season at Bathurst, super difficult track. People are not already in their groove, so it was pretty interesting to see how those drivers are able to push the limit of the cars in a difficult track like that so early in the season. So the amount of talent that is in there in the pro and pro am league is awesome. So definitely something fun to watch and something that I will do now on Friday is watch the pro and pro am race now.
The thing that happens normally with the first race of the season is the guys have a little more time to practice. So they put a little more time into practice for the first race, and sometimes, well, real life takes over and you don't have as much time to practice for second, third, and fourth and fifth race and
Yeah.
coming
Towards the
races.
end of the season. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Are you gonna stay focused since you're first? You won the first race. You're top in your field right now. Will you stay as focused and will you be able to put in as many hours needed to try and stay on the top level on the podium again next week and in the upcoming weeks as well?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. Obviously, Zandvoort was one of my favorite track and one of the track that I know best. So it was, I guess, a little bit easier for me to perform there. Barcelona is going to show us a little bit more my through pace and how I'm going to be able to react for the rest of the season. The top guys in silver are so fast that I'm going to definitely need more time to stay close to them. So I'm not sure. Again, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, family, work, everything is gonna accelerate as the year go by, and then we'll see how it goes. But definitely, it kind of motivate you a little bit more when you start the
The
season with.
practice more when you're first. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I'm gonna do my best to keep the pace this year.
Well, I'm pretty sure you're gonna do well anyway. You're always, like I was gonna say, a steady guy,
Yeah,
great pace, and it's fun because you can be side by side with a guy like Mathieu. You're not afraid of what's gonna happen,
Yeah,
and
there's respect. Yeah.
Yeah, you build confidence with the drivers you're next to all the time, and the more you get to drive with one another, well, it brings a better feeling, a comfortable feeling, just to say if you have a specific guy ahead of you or behind you. And so, what I can say is, I wish you the best of luck because I'm
Thank
pretty
you.
sure we're gonna see you in the top five again soon enough. You're not done for sure, and we're going to be watching closely to make sure that you go ahead. And if you get too fast, then we might have to move you up, though. We,
who
we
knows?
talked about that already.
Yeah, I
It's in the
mean,
works. We're
yeah.
waiting. So it's all on you from now.
And you're gonna have a ballast for the next race as well. So
Yep.
that's not gonna help the Porsche.
30 kilograms added to the car.
No,
So
for
are
sure.
you still see a top 10 position with the ballast?
Top 10, yes, definitely not a win. So we'll see what's going to happen. But who knows? During a race, anything can happen. So it's if the crash happened at the front this time, maybe I'm going to be able to do something. So we'll see about it. Definitely, the ballast will not help the Porsche. So we'll see how it go. We're gonna work out on that this week for sure. It's gonna be an interesting one.
I just
I
got an
actually
idea.
drive this. Yeah, I actually drive the same car he does, and I
Yeah,
found out last year that having a ballast on the Porsche helped it. It was going better.
settle down a bit. Yeah,
Yeah, I know you don't want us to tell all the secrets, but still, yeah, I don't know because maybe because it's the engine's in the back and the fuel tank actually is in
in
the
the front.
front.
Yeah,
So it
Yeah,
balances out the car with the extra weight. And even when you put a full load of fuel in the car, it's well balanced. There's crazy grip in the front end.
yep.
And the lighter it gets, the less fuel you get, the more slippery the back end starts to get. So it's going to be a challenging week for you to balance out, start practicing with the weight, and be able to be comfortable with the car. But I'm telling you, I'm betting on you again. I'm pretty sure you're going to do great, even with the 30 kilograms on added to the car.
so yeah, I just had an idea. Since he is a national, and he beat a couple of silvers
You beat
during the
all of
last
them.
race. Yeah. Um, how about we help the other guys a little bit? What's the worst corner for you in Spain? Where is it that you're always afraid to make a mistake?
Where can we dive inside and go
Yeah,
get the position from you? That's what he wants to know.
Um, I do struggle with the last chicane uh, on the racetrack, but obviously it's not probably not the best place to try to pass me
yeah,
on.
it's
So
risky.
that's
It's
kind of
Nah,
risky. Yeah.
okay.
he can't be side by side there.
Um, I would say the long turn three.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you get the right, the left, and then you got the
Yeah,
long right. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
That long
Okay. So
right
There's
turn
so
is
somebody
is
can get you
one.
into T4. Going into T4 because you have a bad T3.
You
It
see,
could be
the advantage of the Porsche is
accelerates like
the
crazy.
it's accelerate like crazy and it
rocket.
brake like super late. So
Yep.
unless there's a mistake, again,
If
we're
there's
gonna
no
see how.
straight lines, they can't get to you.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
Barcelona does have a really long straight.
Yep.
That one's gonna
Yeah,
be something.
yeah, it might be, but like you said, on the third corner,
Yeah,
there's so many different lines people can take. So for
yeah,
everybody else who's listening is going to be racing against Mathieu, make sure you take a slow entry in second corner so you exit faster so you can pass him.
yeah. Just make sure you get a good T1, T2, T3,
Yeah.
and T4. You get a chance. All right. So we'll help a couple of people like that. Well, Mathieu, thanks for being with us. It's pretty nice for you to accept the invitation, and hopefully we're gonna have you back if this podcast continues to get rolling.
Yeah.
So yeah, and is there anything else you wanted to ask, Pat? Or
No, actually, we covered almost everything we needed to talk about, and Mathieu was a great guest. Can't ask for better for our first guest on our podcast. Can't ask for more.
yeah,
Thanks for having me, guys. It's awesome. It's going to motivate myself to make sure I perform so I can come back to your podcast. So obviously, it's going to be one of my goal. So thanks to Last But Relax, the team, very helpful. RST, our sponsor for this year. So it's gonna be an awesome season. So looking forward to having another podcast with you guys.
I know your wife's going to be watching this. You better say something about her now.
I
yeah,
love you, dear.
There you go.
yeah. Show her the last 10 seconds.
Yeah, he's out of the doghouse for the entire year. He's good, but it's still going to cost him a pool, though.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and to
Thanks.
everyone watching. We are hoping to see you in the next podcast, and don't forget to click on the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you're notified of every single video that we're all the races and everything. So, thank you for being with us. My co-host Patrick Fournier and our guest Mathieu Bellavance will say goodbye until the next time.
Thanks, guys. See ya.